believe we're on 33, but it's very exciting. 33 is obviously a really special number to the Tamily and to Tracy. Our guest today is going to be Tracy Fit Family Life is her IG handle. You're probably familiar with Tracy McNeil throughout the Tamily, but she's going to be our guest star today. And as usual, we have some questions planned for her. But the most fun thing is when you type questions in live. So she will be joining in just a second, and we'll get started with those questions. You can type anything you'd like to ask into the chat, and we'll scroll through it and make sure that we get to all of the questions. We are just waiting for her to join. And there she is. Let's get connected. So just one second. It says that it's connecting. We did test it, so I know it works. Hi, Tracy.
Hi. How are you today? Good. You're upside down. Let me fly to this way.
Perfect.
That work?
Yes. So,
How are you?
Tracy, thank you so much for joining us. We're really excited about your Ask Tamily interview. Not just because you are a very inspirational member of the Tamily, but also because this is our 33rd Ask Tamily interview. So it's the favorite number.
I'm excited. Thank you so much for including me, and I love what you guys are doing. So
we
fun.
love it too. We're so glad you wanted to participate.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd encourage everyone to. It's so nice to learn about each other.
Yes, absolutely. And I know some people feel a little shy about it, but really just a conversation with the Tamily. So I'm sure once we're done, you can attest that there's nothing to be nervous about. So what we'll do is just start with maybe a couple of our planned questions, and scroll through the chat and get any that are live.
Okay.
So, the first question we usually always ask is, when and how did you start the Tracy Anderson method?
Yeah, so I started Tracy Anderson after my third child, and I had my third baby in 2012. So I think like many of the girls, I heard of Tracy Anderson through a magazine or through Gwyneth Paltrow and I don't remember exactly how, but I was specifically searching for a different way to pull my abs back together after having a baby. And my arms have always been like my personal, the personal part of my body that I'm like, I can't figure out how to work out my arms. So somehow I ended up on YouTube with her, and she used to have this video up of her at the beach. I don't know if you remember this one. She's in her sunglasses, and she's like doing the whole workout.
I remember that.
Do you remember that? So I was like, what is this workout? Let me back up and say that I started teaching exercise classes when I was 20. So I taught for 13 years through college and through after college, and when I was working full-time, I still taught classes. So I did all these other fitness philosophies, and I also went to school for physical therapy before shifting gears into business and sales. But I share that because I really have this like solid knowledge of exercise platforms, and she just took her method in a completely different direction in a time where we were all like doing step aerobics. I'm dating myself, but the things we were doing in the mainstream fitness when she was developing that arm workout and her method, I'm sure she really faced a lot of, pushback on how she was doing things. So yeah, I really admire her for sticking to it and sticking to, what she thought was effective, right?
Yeah, really being a pioneer in our industry.
Yes. bestie, my pal, who's here as well, Allison.
Yes.
And I was like, you have to do this video. We started doing it and just sharing back and forth. Like, I've actually got arm definition. I mean, I did triathlons, and swimming never did this to my arms. I did, running. We ran a marathon, and I just got thicker by the day doing that. My body just didn't respond well to that. And those are all wonderful forms of exercise, right? But I didn't connect with it. Mm-hmm. So the arms are what roped me into Tracy. I love those arms.
Yes. So Change Girl 64, whose name is also Tracy, is asking, do you just do streaming now, or like what was your journey through the different offerings?
Yeah. So I actually when I first started, Tracy didn't have streaming, right? So I had her 30-day book, and then I just went to YouTube initially, and then when I wasn't on any platform of social media. I don't even know how to work Facebook, how to log in. I just was on Instagram simply with family, and my husband's cool cousin was like, you should get on Instagram. So I found the Tamily, specifically Loretta and Tiffany and they were posting a lot of their workouts, so I just pulled from them. I added my YouTube workout to what they were doing, and I also did, I think like many of us for years just did cardio, tons of cardio. I would go work out most days of the week, but always just doing cardio. So, long answer to your question. Can you tell I can't get to the point so quickly? Long answer to your question. I now only do streaming. I do really miss the social aspect of meeting my pals for a workout and taking classes and stuff like that. So I will meet friends for yoga, and I'll meet friends for, I have a lot of friends who love this Barry's boot camp, but I've never been. But I, jumped into a soul cycle class. I'll do that socially, but my main workout is streaming. That being said, I really haven't found the right formula for cardio for me since I was sick, since a couple of years ago. Okay. So I'm kind of still trying to figure out that.
So right now, are you doing mostly Attain, or do you switch around? Okay. So pretty much.
I always do Attain unless, like in February, I had a virus and I just wasn't feeling 100%. And I really listen, and like Tracy says, and I just went to intermediate and just did that for the month, and it was good. It was it was challenging enough. But dance cardio, I just cannot find my groove with it. I can't. I keep trying. I try a few days a week, but I don't know. Do you do it? Do you dance too? No, I want to.
But right. I think that it's just always going to feel awkward for some people. It doesn't mean it's not effective, though. But, you have to find the thing that you love from that perspective. And really, Attain is a full workout.
It really is. It is. But I know that, so I wanted to share pictures this week of before I was, before I had cancer, because I really only made my Instagram account public after my diagnosis. Okay. So I really never shared with everyone, Tracy was a huge part of my life long before.
Right.
So, I really haven't, I was thinking a lot about like her method and how it's changed how I work out. I know how so many of us do, but I really haven't been able to tap into that confidence entirely that I think the method really requires for the next level of results. Mm-hmm. Okay. If that makes any sense.
Yes.
But it's like she's purposeful with making us get into these awkward positions and getting us uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. And it reminds me a lot of the yoga philosophy where you're constantly challenging like both your feminine and masculine energy,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And no one understands that feminine strength or energy like Tracy does,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Absolutely.
She wants everyone to really innately, no matter shape or size or where you are, to like really find that feminine strength in you and like that building the confidence from inside out, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Definitely. So, since you have been, doing Attain and streaming, have you tried like other cardio aspects or just tried the dance cardio occasionally?
So where I see the most benefits for me in my 40s, and I noticed a big shift around age like 36 or 37, where if I did too much cardio, I was ravenous all day, and I just couldn't. I would out eat any workout that I did. So I really found if I just did 15 or 20 minutes, it didn't matter as long as it was intense enough, and as long as for me, as long as my heart rate was like anaerobic, up and down. You can call it HIIT training, like whatever that is. I think that it's different for everybody. That's where I saw the best results when I had 20 minutes a few days a week on top of the full hour of. Don't you feel like Attain used to be intermediate?
Yeah.
It
is Attain to me.
Yes.
Oh gosh.
Yes. And now master classes is on another level of athleticism. And again, obviously it's purposeful. So.
Right.
But yeah, I think if I could get back to the 20 minutes a few days a week, that's my goal. Okay. I have like residual effects from treatment that's sort of, I'm not super comfortable sprinting on the treadmill. I'm not super comfortable jumping around. I don't know, I don't really know exactly why, but I had issues for a long time with being dizzy.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? So I just couldn't find my groove with cardio. Not yet. I'm still working on it.
It's always a journey.
Yes.
Shar would like to know, what is your diet like?
So, it's now so my goals have completely changed, right? So, my diet now is really primarily plant-based. I do eat fish, and I do have a little, I do actually have a little meat here and there, but I work really closely with a nutritionist specifically because I'm focused on cancer prevention. So my goals have really shifted. So part of why I'm excited for this chat today is because I want to just share with everybody that I really want to participate in the Tamily conversations and be active with it, but I struggle with I want to also be a supportive sort of participant in this breast cancer community. And then I also have a daughter with diabetes. So right. I want to advocate for 3 different things in this one platform. So I don't know that I do any of it well, because I'm just sort of I really want to remind all of us, no matter where we're coming from, nutrition to me, I look at now like it's medicinal for me, if that makes any sense. Yes. So mostly plants. I mean, I just vegetables throughout the day. Vegetables are like 80% of my intake. I don't eat grains per se a whole lot. But when I had excellent results with Tracy before I got sick, I ate everything in moderation. All the wine and cheese and tortillas and whatever, and I just enjoyed things in moderation and had great results with that. I have all these food sensitivities after chemo, so yeah, a little tweak. Well,
I know that you said you want to be an advocate for obviously the method, like children with diabetes, all things really, and especially the breast cancer community. And you said that you don't do that well, and I just have to tell you that we don't know you do it very well.
Thank you.
We think you're an amazing advocate for the Tamily, and especially especially, bringing a lot of the breast cancer awareness and even the diabetes aspect. Looking at a lot of your posts, I think maybe when your daughter was first diagnosed about how difficult that is and how you have to regulate things and how you have to watch a child like every minute who has, that serious of a disease. And you do a great job at all three of those. So please keep doing that. And don't think that you're not, doing an amazing job keeping us all aware in those three different areas.
I really appreciate you saying that. I find that, they all overlap in this really strange and unique way. For example, my daughter in managing insulin, I'm learning every day and understanding more and more about insulin and how it affects all of us in insulin production, and then or lack thereof in her case. And that actually plays, and Tracy and I talked about this when I had the great fortune to chat with her about it. The fact that I'm managing my daughter, or my husband and I, are her acting pancreas or an organ for her around the clock, because it doesn't stop overnight, is a stressor, right? And Tracy talks a lot about the how aging that is, and how, I essentially have been managing my cortisol and stress hormones and stress level, this really high amount of stress for a couple of years. And just, I think that's really, those are huge barriers to our success. And whether it's my set of issues or we all have them, right? We all have these stressors. But when we get to the mat, if you bring it with us, it's hard to really get to that free space of no judgment and that state of absorption that she talks about. Right? Where you're just like, I'm in it, I'm only here, and I'm performing the moves versus just like showing up and kind of doing the moves without effort.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's a completely, totally different experience.
Yeah.
So, talk to us a little bit about why the workout specifically is important to you in, your whole overall wellness.
Yeah. I think I know that before everything this sort of dark, my husband and I refer to it as sort of this dark cloud showing up in our family life. Prior to that, I know that I got to this space where I really was so comfortable with myself. I was so comfortable with who I was inside and out, and the sort of like how I felt physically was just like the icing on the cake. And I know that sounds a little cliche, and like everyone kind of says that, but really maybe that's what brought me to Tracy. But the way she moves us, and again, I always go back to, there's no other way to really tap into this incredible feminine energy that we all have, like she does. So, I consider tapping into my masculine energy when I'm like running, or I'm sprinting, or I'm trying to do push-ups, and which she taps into with that too, but push-ups or pull-ups or lifting weights or squatting, like these things are all like building the larger muscles in our body, and that was all great for me for years. But I didn't realize until I started moving the way she moves us, like how good it felt to tap into this sort of feminine side of myself. Does that make sense?
It does. Totally. Yes.
And that's what brings me to it every day. And all the no talking too is, I know it's a big hurdle when I've gotten friends to try the method. Like, oh, she's not talking. I have no idea what's happening. That the way Tracy encourages us to learn her language. That too, it's like, we speak the language now, and so, right, so we can kind of, you just show up because you want to have that kind of conversation every day. Right. I miss it if I don't, I miss it if I'm not finding a way to do it most days.
So how do you normally fit it into your life? What's your routine?
So I'm lucky enough to be home with my kiddos right now, but ideally I would work out between 7 and 9, but typically I bring them, we walk to school together, so I typically don't start until 8 or 8:30. Sometimes Sometimes I have to scroll through Instagram to get some motivation to get there by 9, which is why I'm so glad to see everyone, and I'll just do like a quick scroll to see who's posted, and especially Thursday mornings. Like, all right, what's going on here, right?
Yeah.
So usually in the mornings.
Excellent. We have a question coming in from Mara. What's one item that's on your bucket list? I guess you haven't done yet.
The first thing that comes to mind is I really want to go to Bali and do like this sort of meditative like embrace myself in yoga and sweat and nature and yeah, that's high up on my bucket list. I've checked out a few things on my bucket list that I'm pretty proud of, like the marathon and the triathlons and that sort of thing. But the interesting thing about those they weren't for me, and I tried it, and I would say doing something like that. But that being said, I can't imagine right now if someone said you can go tomorrow, I couldn't leave my kids. I just am not in a good space right now to leave them this little and go. But eventually, when I'm at a place where I want to go by myself or with a pal, that would be right up there.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. So talking about like scrolling to work out, who are some of the people in the Tamily that really inspire you?
I feel like this is the toughest question. I am truly inspired by everyone who posts, and for multiple reasons. I love the people who are just incredibly consistent about it and put themselves out there every day, with their, no matter where their workout is. I just think for me as an introvert, I find it really hard to put myself, sometimes I just can't record myself. I just don't, I don't have it in me every day to do the recording. It's almost like an intimate conversation with my workout that I'm having with myself or with Tracy, and sometimes I just can't do that energy of recording. So the people who do, I really feel like the days that I do, I feel like I work harder. I think it's really impressive that people post all the time. So I love seeing that part of the Tamily, and then I really, if I can, which I try to limit my time on Instagram, but if I can, I love seeing the new people who are joining, and I know a lot of people keep their accounts private. So if anyone's out there and wants to share with me, let me know. Because do you feel funny requesting someone who's private to follow them?
If I know they're a Tamily person, I don't.
You don't.
I'm like, oh, I'm requesting that person.
Yeah.
But if I'm not sure, then I'm like, oh, I don't know, and I think about it for a while. It looks like we were buffering for a second.
Sorry, if you're not sure, then you what?
Then I just think about it for a while and see.
Yeah.
But when it's obviously, especially if they have TAM in their name, I'm asking them to
right.
Yeah, follow me.
My husband's on here.
That's funny. He's asking a question. How many pairs of workout leggings?
Not enough. Not enough. Never enough.
Great answer. We have another question from Nicole. I think you already have superpowers, but if you could have one supernatural superpower, what would it be?
Oh my gosh. Well, I dream of a fairy who will just clean my house and do the dishes and laundry and stuff like that. That would be an amazing superpower if I could just go like this. I think. Oh, that's a tough one. Yeah, let's leave it at that.
That's a pretty good one. We have another question from Molly. How does your family feel about your need for time for Tracy Anderson?
I love this question and how everyone's answering it a little bit differently, but also with the same kind of common denominator. My family's, from the day my children were born, as soon as the doctors cleared me, I was working out. So they, like all of us, they just kind of know that this is what I do, and I do it every day, and I'm taking care of my health. And again, even before being sick and so on. So they do understand. And actually, I didn't work out in front of them or at home as much before cancer. So my oldest daughter said to me this year, "You didn't used to work out this much," and I was like, "Yes, I did." But you would go to the child care center. She has these, pals at the child care center at this women's gym that I used to go to, and then I used to stream in the corner at the gym,
Oh.
in the studio space. So she just didn't remember, but now I like that they see me. I like that they see me every day, and they see me, owning my health and making that time every day. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, they have no choice.
Mara has another question for us. It's for you.
Yeah.
What's your favorite way to spend time with your girls?
Oh, I are really imaginative in this really cool space where they're still into a lot of dramatic play with their doll houses and their dolls and drawing and coloring. And so I really just sit with them. They don't really invite me to participate in a whole lot. If I try to, they're sort of like, "Why are you here?" But I like to watch and kind of hang with them. And we read a ton together. And anytime we can get outside to walk together, we walk to school in the morning. And I would say being active with them, walking and such, but they're not super active kids. So I have to kind of pull them into, exercising. They'll do a little yoga with me and stuff like that, but
that's fun.
All those different ways of bonding with them. It's tricky with 3 girls, 3 different personalities, very different.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Alexandra would like to know, does your hubby ever join you in your TAM sessions?
He wrote, no, he is too afraid of getting kicked in the face. He will not join me. And, he'll maybe attempt arms once in a while, but no, he won't. I can't get it.
That's so funny.
No.
What is your advice to someone that's new to the Tracy Anderson method and new to the Tamily?
Yeah, I think, first of all, I love that there's just, everyone's welcoming. You just show up and say hi, and I'm here to join the fun, and that's all there is to it. And then, Tracy's so incredibly welcoming. And now it's really gone from 2015 to now, right? It's really, there are so many options. So my advice to anyone joining new as a newbie, I would say to really be kind to yourself and patient, right? Because it is an entirely new language or new way of doing things. And until you let go of all that judgment, like she says, right? And so this is the other thing I love about everybody posting. There's no judgment and there's no judging yourself. When you let go of all that, there's no space for it. It's just a positive experience all around. And even if you do 20 minutes and you find your own groove, that's what I love about it. Exactly. So stick with it and be patient and don't judge.
Very, very good advice. What would you say about someone who is afraid to post, especially since, you're kind of introverted about posting as well?
Yeah. Gosh, I remember someone saying to me when I was first diagnosed with breast cancer, a friend who had it as well, I remember her saying to me, it's not all bad. You'll have these gifts that come out of this experience. And I remember walking away from that conversation completely perplexed. How is it not all terrible? This is terrible. And I realize now, 2 years later, that, and this doesn't happen, obviously this doesn't have to be this way for everybody, but I really let go of wondering about what people are going to think about me. And that's a really beautiful gift. Whether that comes from your own experience in any number of ways, figuring out a way to just let go of your own judgment and being worried about what other people think. I think it's such a beautiful thing to share, right? Especially as women, and especially when we are all facing so many challenging situations on our own. I look at this space like it's a fun place to come every day. It lifts me up. It inspires me to move. It inspires me to go take care of my health. It kind of reminds me, on those days, why I'm doing it. It's not about, of course, it's inspiring to look at like Loretta and her results, and she's amazing, and oh my, she's a dance cardio queen, and
Uh-huh.
of course, we're all gonna go there. And I'd love to look like her, and then I remind myself as soon as I have that thought to go back to the thought of like, well, what does this mean for me? How can I take that post and kind of, take it to another level for me, or let it have it be a positive impact on me. So posting, I don't know. I'm not sure that everyone has to participate. I feel like there are lots of participants who don't really post their workouts, but they are supporting one another, right?
Right, absolutely.
I have my friend Elena, I don't know if she's on here, Elena Popolo, who's been streaming for 2 years, and she won't post. Or my friend from high school, who's the same thing. She's been streaming for years, and she won't post. And Allison, I love you. And then I have friends who I feel like because my husband is cool with it too, he just kind of makes fun of me, and I'm fine with being made fun of.
Huh?
If he wants to tease me with whatever I'm doing, I just say I'm only here for the girls.
Right.
But I know, I'm sure my neighbors, because I have the one public account, I know that sometimes at elementary school, parents are probably wondering what I'm doing.
Right.
So there's that too.
But a way to make other people aware of the method and different ways of exercising, and just I think even having more awareness about people's focus on wellness and physical activity is positive. They do, I'm sure, sometimes think it's a little weird.
Oh, I'm sure. Well, like for you, for example, I mean, you blow me away with your commitment, and you are traveling, and you're in a hotel, and you're on your own, and you're making it happen. And the fact that you have this incredible accountability with the number of days that you've worked out, I am blown away by that. That's inspiring to me to say, like, you're showing up, you're tired, we're all tired, we're all, a little overtaxed with our schedules, maybe, and so I'm checking you out. Suzanne got her tank tops on that I love.
Always.
Getting on the mat.
Yeah, and I mean that's something, we all have like stressors and different struggles, and even if people aren't like posting about them, they're experiencing that. We all have these challenges, and just sometimes being able to see, like, especially people in the Tamily like you know, knowing different things that you've been through and stuff with your children, it can be so inspiring to think like, okay, I can do this. All of these other women are in like the same place. We all have these challenges.
Yeah. I started posting when I was going through chemo, and that was really hard. I have so many videos of like completely bald and working out, and I just couldn't always put it out there, but that really helped me get through. When you're in treatment and everyone. Should I just tell you that story? How that happened?
Yeah. Definitely.
I wasn't on, social media publicly, but I was doing the method, and I am trying to make it so I'm not in the dark here. I said to Will, my husband, I really want to make my account public. Like, here's where I'm coming from. I do this method. I do this workout, and I love it so much. It's a part of my life, and I have these 3 little girls, and I have all of these people online that I admire and I follow. And what if I get really sick here? And what if I can't do this anymore? And I really wanted to capture it. I wanted to hold on to it so desperately. And so I was like, I'm just going to make this account public for a week and see what happens, and see if I can like kind of connect with someone. Because again, going back to not knowing how any of this worked. So like within the day or so, Tiffany had reached out to me, Tiffany and RV Love, she also reached out, and they, whether or not they messaged Tracy, I don't know exactly how it happened, but then Tracy reached out to me over Instagram. I had shared a post about losing my hair. It was Christmas week, and my hair was just falling out in huge clumps. I had gone through my first cycle of chemo, and I knew it was going to happen, and but it was so hard. It was such a hard time. And so she messaged me over Instagram, and I was, of course, blown away. Like, this is Tracy Anderson. Like, I was really excited to hear from her, and she offered to shave her head with me. And I didn't know what would you do? Here, Tracy's like, hi, nice to meet you. I'm so sorry you're going through this. I will shave my head with you. And I was like, I don't know how to respond to that. So I was like, no. I completely appreciate that. That's the level of solidarity, though, that she offers women, right? Now that I've had the opportunity to interact with her, I mean, she was like, I'm here for you. I will be with you through this journey. You're going to be okay. Any way that you want to advocate when you're done, I'm here. I see you're doing your workouts. I had posted a couple of workouts, and she said, I see you're doing your workouts. Keep doing it. You can do it. And then she posted me, like, this picture I had about losing my hair on her page. And then within an hour, I had like 600 people saying, you can do it. I'm here for you. And I'll support you while you get through this. And all of these virtual messages. I know you were one of them, Tampa. You were there, right there with me. And that was incredible for me. It was such an incredible experience. I mean, again, I was blown away by it. So I feel beyond fortunate to have had her leadership, and also the fact that she reached out to me and just said, anything you need. It speaks a lot to who she is, right?
Huge, definitely.
Yeah.
What total change just from making your page public for 1 week that of this happened. Yeah.
It was pretty amazing.
I knew you were going to make me get tears in my eyes.
I know.
I knew it. So we have another really good question from Molly. And she's saying, with today being the day after International Women's Day, would you share some women who have deeply impacted and empowered you throughout your life?
Well, Tracy is certainly one of them, because she, I think, is an example of, we all know how much she shares of herself with us, and we know these incredible challenges she's faced, especially the past couple of years. And she still shows up for her health, and she's still, sort of demonstrating a huge amount of resilience, right? And practicing what she teaches, right? So Tracy's certainly one of the biggest inspirations for me in that regard. I'm inspired by a lot of the women here in this community, and like I said before, I come here to see. I actually really appreciate Molly, for example, when she shared, she's in the hospital, she's having this surgery, and this is real life. We are all facing various health issues, various personal challenges, and I by no means think that everyone needs to share necessarily their personal challenges on this platform, but when they do, and then they still show up for supporting each other, it's an act of resilience, and it's an act of, aligning with each other as women, and I love that. And again, I always go back to, I'm raising 3 girls, right, in the future of these, and how important what we say and what we do, it is. I just finished the Michelle Obama book too, and she's really inspiring. Has anybody read that one?
I'm sure lots of people on here have. I want to. Well, so
she's this really, really cool. One of my favorite parts of the book is she talks about when we limit ourselves to a label, and how really is, and she talks about when she thinks one of the silliest questions to ask a child is, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" Because that puts this finite, that makes it finite. And so it's not, no matter what age we are, where we are in our journey, or what we're facing in our health journeys and so on, like, you can always shift gears, we can always change, right? And I love that message. Love the message she shared.
Yeah, she's a pretty amazing woman.
Can you tell I have a hard time sticking to the point?
No, you're doing an excellent job. So we have Aggie watching us, and Aggie
I love Aggie.
The best question asker. So she wants to know, what words of wisdom did your mother, grandmother, or aunt share with you?
Oh. Well, my mother and my family came from this really strict Catholic religious background, and the specific words that they've shared with me, I can't think of a specific, I know a lot of families have this, like, my mother always said X or Y, and it was always inspiring to me. My mom is a woman of fewer words, and she's a little more stoic, and loving in her own way is showing up. And she's more of a you're showing up for the people that you love. And I think there's more of that lesson that resonated with me growing up with her. I talk till my kids aren't listening anymore. They'll have plenty of sayings from me. But my mom was more just, whatever it is that someone you love needs, or someone in need needs, you just show up and figure out how to help.
Yes. Actions speak louder than words.
Yes.
Alexandra would like to know, if your life right now was a movie, what would the title be?
Oh, evolved, becoming, showing up. I don't know.
Those are all perfect. So we don't have, I think, any more questions in the chat right now. What is your personal philosophy about working out in general?
I think I'm super lucky in that ever since I was a child, it's just part of who I am. I'm going to find a way to move every day. And even my family, even my parents or my husband or my kids just know that I'm really not right unless I've exercised a little bit. So, or I've done some sort of sweating. Spend most of the day in leggings and trying to find a way to move.
I do the same thing.
Yeah. If you have them on, you'll do it, right?
Right. Even if it's at 9:30 at night.
Oh my gosh. God bless you.
Have you personally converted anyone to becoming a devoted member of the family?
My husband is teasing.
That's the question.
I married the class clown, and I love it. I converted my best pal, Allison. So Allison.LeBlanc on I think that's her handle. Yep. My good pal, Lauren, who is LC Tamily. You guys have to watch her. She's amazing. Okay. And I have a couple other friends who are streaming and, like I said before, not on Instagram or not posting. My friend Elena, and my friend Mary Kate. I don't think she's on Instagram. Okay. But she loves it.
Do you want to answer your husband's question, or do you want us to skip it?
I have no idea. Bradley Cooper can play you, though. That's fine.
That's so funny. Allison said Bradley Cooper.
So funny.
What is something that's important to you in your life that you want to share with the Tamily?
I was thinking about this as I was looking through your questions, and I think that before, years ago when I first came to this, to the specific workout. Again, going back to like having these really specific goals about how I want to look or how I want to feel. I think that one of the aspects of working out, especially with Tracy, that I'm always asking myself is, where am I today in my journey? Like, am I trying to maintain where I am? Am I trying to shed weight? Am I trying to do that for vanity purposes, or am I just trying to feel my best? Is what's my goal? And I think being really specific with ourselves about what our goal is when we come to the mat. I don't know if you read her 30-day book, but she talks a lot about that, like kind of setting your intention for each workout.
Yeah.
And sometimes lately I find myself setting an intention for the month, which seems to be helping, kind of just staying on track and giving another thing to think about while you're working out. So kind of like this notion that we're not, and even when we post pictures, I shared this picture of this where I felt like my healthiest self, with the girls at the beach in a bathing suit and all this. I think that was really more about like how I felt on the inside. Like I was, also in that moment recognizing that, hey, I'm going to capture this because I probably won't look like this next summer. And maybe for multiple reasons. I think it's just the journey and recognizing we're not aiming toward a finished, like this is what we're going to ultimately end up with, and with our bodies or our minds or our souls, just like accepting the journey and kind of reevaluating that routinely. Does that make sense?
Definitely. That's like one of the things I think, you learn from this method, like early on, is you're not going to do this workout every day until you lose 22 and a half pounds and then you're finished.
Yeah.
And I know for me, like, I didn't understand why do people who look perfect keep going to the gym all the time. Like, aren't you finished? But you're never finished, and it becomes so much more important than what you look like. And it is totally a journey. There's going to be different things that change. There's going to be different stressors. There's going to be better, easier, more balanced times, and you're going to feel like maybe you're taking some steps back before you take other steps forward. And it's really just about being in it and having it be part of your whole overall lifestyle.
Absolutely. I think that's really important advice for the people new to the method as well. When you're asking yourself, why am I moving this way? Why am I, challenging myself in a way that's so uncomfortable right now? Kind of revisiting, asking yourself, well, what's the alternative? Are you just saying, why am I exercising? Or are you saying, like, why am I doing this versus like squatting with barbells? It depends on what your goals are. That's the other thing I think is important too, that I find a lot of my friends or acquaintances who are personal trainers and work in the fitness industry, a lot of people have all these opinions about the method and, it's complicated sequencing and it's choreography, and I get a lot of the pushback, like that doesn't seem necessary. When I hear those comments, I just think, it's all about the goals. And Tracy talks a lot about that. If you want if your end point is, to make your muscles really strong and to see how strong you can get, and you're not worried about your shape or the length of the muscles and that sort of thing, then yeah, you're just going to go and lift weights, and that's all great. You'll get those specific results, right? But she is a master at designing these muscles like this really long, elongated way. And I know from my physical therapy education that she taps into partnering and synergy with muscles and how they work that are really deep within our core. And it's so strategic how she exhausts the larger muscle groups in order to get to the smaller ones. And anyway.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And people don't have to understand it for it to be the best method.
Right. I love that. Like, just trust in what she's doing. Trust in Tracy.
Yeah, we can all see that it works. They can judge, but the best workout is the one that, you're going to do and you're going to be dedicated to.
I find that people who are judging are just like confused by it, so they don't understand it. So then they're right, then they're like, I don't understand it. So they,
Yeah, right. Want to resist it.
yes.
So I know you talked about this a little bit, but one question that we have on your list is where do you live and what do you do?
So I live in Boston, and I'm currently home full time with my daughters. And my work experience was in, like I mentioned before, fitness, and then for about 12 years I was a pharmaceutical sales representative, and I actually sold insulin. I actually trained nurses on how to inject insulin.
Oh my gosh.
Not ever thinking or imagining that I would later have a diabetic child.
Right.
So, or type 1. So,
wow.
life funny.
Life definitely is.
Yes.
That's very interesting. So Instagram will cut us off in an hour, so I just have to let you know that. So we have about 7 minutes. And Molly has another question. What's your favorite part of the workout? Arms, mat work, standing abs?
Ooh, standing abs, I'm so terrible at. I try to do it, but it's just all kinds of wrong. I mean, I do it, but I love the arms. Sometimes I won't connect with the arms in some weeks, and I will go back to those precision arms, which are my favorite. Mm-hmm. But I love it all, but I really get excited for the
I think the exact way.
You do?
I do. I think that, and I think Tracy has said that, you know, that's the time to like start the connection with yourself for the workout. And, you know, if there's one I don't like, I'll go do arms from another workout.
Yes, me too. I'll switch over to intermediate or one of the classroom experiences, and then I'll go back.
Yeah, which are all super amazing. So it's just the fantastic thing about this method. So as we keep scheduling these Ask Tamily interviews going into, you know, who knows how long from now, who do you think we should ask to interview?
Have you had Loretta on?
We haven't yet.
I'd love to hear from her, just sort of her journey, just simply because I really like that she's just like so consistent, right? And all business, and I'm sure there's this whole other side of her life, the other 22 hours of the day that that if she wanted to share would be really fun to get to know her more. Really, any of the newer folks too who are just kind of joining, I think it would be cool to have them on and then have everyone sort of welcoming. I don't know. I love everyone you've interviewed as well. I'm kind of like trying to I've gone back and tried to catch up on YouTube. So it's just so great that you guys put this out there, right? And that you're reaching out to get to know everyone. Have you interviewed Julie? She has a really interesting story too.
Yeah, we haven't interviewed her yet either. I think Nicole might have reached out to her to ask her because I think she did get suggested in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah. My pal Gillian, who is my fellow breast cancer survivor, she and I have met up. She doesn't post a whole lot, but she's an amazing person to talk to. She's in San Diego. Okay. I can send you her handle. I don't know.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, I don't think that I follow her yet, so that would be amazing.
Yes. So I've gone to Vitality. I met her there, and she and I connected, and we stayed in touch and met up last summer again too.
Well, that's awesome.
I'd love to meet up with people. I think it'd be great if Jared, when they were going, you know, to meet up. I love meeting up with people in person. I've met up with T.A. Soul, lives in Boston.
Okay.
And then I'm forgetting her handle. Gipper Smith. Yeah, Karen. Anytime someone comes to Boston, for sure, reach out, and I would love to meet up.
Definitely. I love that stuff too. We have a couple of questions from Tam at 51. would like to know how tall you are. She's short at 5'2" and always curious. And if you have ever struggled with your weight.
Oh yeah. So I'm 5'5", and I'm definitely nowhere near naturally lean. My body wants to be super pleasantly plump. It would be like so happy if I would just eat all the pizza and just chill out. It would not be good. No, I have a slow metabolism. And I was really looking for pictures from when I used to just run, and in my 20s I was much thicker. I mean, I've always worked out and exercised, and I was thicker. Yeah.
So it's all to Tracy Anderson.
So, yeah.
So we do just have 1 or 2 minutes left. Is
Okay.
there anything else that you would want to say to the Tamily while you have this audience?
I think we talked about like the no judging. I think is the most powerful message that Tracy shares. And then I love also the platform that she operates on with the like the Indian proverb about the houses that we operate in, like our physical self, our spiritual self, our emotional self, intellectual self.
Yes.
That really helped me with going through challenging times. I think if she's even posted about it this week about just when you're physically strong, you're able to handle and be more resilient with life is going to throw whatever life throws at you, right?
Right.
For me, I had a lot thrown at me all at once, and I don't think I would have gotten through it as nearly as okay as I did if I didn't have already coming from a solid foundation of like who I was, and I was physically really strong. So yeah, I would say that you never know what's around the corner, right? So what you're doing is not only for your physical health, but all of the other benefits preparing you for anything that comes your way. Yes.
Right. You have no idea what it could be and how things come full circle.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much for being so open with us and sharing your journey and the challenges that you've faced. And you are definitely a huge Tamily inspiration, and we really appreciate you being our 33rd Ask Tamily interview.
I'm so excited. Thank you so much for including me, Suzanne and Nicole. I really appreciate it. I love what you're doing, and I do love to post and chat and interact with everybody, but you guys, I hope you get why sometimes the introvert in me takes over and I can't put it out there.
We totally do. We